I was once an innocent little boy. Truly. But tonight, I stand before you as a man. Tonight, I'm going to bring you on a journey through time and space to when I was once a little boy, full of innocence, ready to lose that innocence and become a man. So rewind about 13,569 days, around that much, to a very important and memorable day, the day that the most influential person in my life was to be born and brought into this world. It's a great day. And now we're going to quickly fast forward about 5,892 days to the day we first met. And you could just feel it. It was in the air. We were meant for each other. It was meant to be. We were going to change each other's lives. We were to be each other's firsts. Fast forward again, 1,919 days. Math. To the day that we first met. It was a beautiful day, and our first date. It was quite amazing. The day I got to go on the date with Shannon Linder, the most provocative girl at Pathways Bible Camp. So, the way this went is our relationship was based on our time together at Bible camp. And it was awkward. So we tried to hide our interest in each other during the time and our years through Bible camp. It didn't really work. So the group of girls that were in her cabin decided to come at me like a swarm of hornets and tell me that I was now dating Shannon. I had no choice. But it was all right. So our relationship consisted of this. She was from Thief River Falls, Minnesota. I was from Crookston, Minnesota, which is about 35 to 45 minutes away. So other than Bible camp, we had our time writing letters and hugging the landline telephone for about 2 to 3 hours a night, every night for a few months. Anybody remember landlines? My parents were pissed. So fast forward another 3 to 4 months after our great analog correspondence of our relationship to that faithful day where we convinced our mothers, not so much our fathers, that it was a good idea for Shannon's mother to drive her to Crookston and drop her off for the weekend. I don't know how our mothers fought off the aneurysms, thinking about the debauchery that we might get into. But it happened. And it was a great plan. All we had to do was actually get her to my house safely so we could spend some time alone together, face to face. We thought it was a good plan until it actually happened. And then the awkwardness ensued. Because we were, too young to drive, we had never spent any time together alone. So we're sitting in my basement on a couch, staring and at this vapid, awkward, I don't know what to say to you, but oh God, what am I gonna say? It was like the perfect, nondescript, overly politically correct, you're really cute, but I can't admit it. And there's no chance of me going in for a kiss. That would be unfathomable. So it was very, very awkward. And our plan was so great until it actually happened. Well, all all of this was going so well until the phone rang, which has been a common theme in the previous stories. As the phone rang, Shannon and I kept our awkwardness going. And then I watched my mother walk down the stairs almost as if she was floating. It is as if time had slowed down and the awkwardness had stopped. And as my mother came to me and her lips started to move and the words came out of her mouth, everything had just completely and utterly slowed to a complete halt. And it was as though, instead of her floating, I had become the one who was floating in an alternate reality where what she was saying to me could in no way possibly be true. At that moment, our first date was completely and utterly over. And without even knowing it, our relationship in its entirety was over. Because after my mother opened her mouth and told me those words, after the phone rang, I was a completely and utterly different person. When my mother told me that Rink Elkema had been in a terrible, terrible car accident, I had instantly lost all of my innocence and became a man. Rink Elkema was my Taekwondo teacher when I was a child. I met him when I was 9. He was the first person to ever take me in when everyone else in the world would laugh at me and tell me that I wasn't good enough. He was the first person to ever give me a fighting chance. The first person to truly show me what a friend was. He was the person who gave me the confidence and courage to stand up for myself and put an end to repeated molestation that happened throughout the age of 10 and 11. He was the person who taught me everything of what it meant to be a man. And on that day when the phone rang, my mother came downstairs on my first date with Shannon Linder, the most provocative girl from Bible camp, and told me that the most influential and important person in my life was now dead. When I met Rink, I was the most uncomfortable person in my own skin. I felt like a misfit in the entire world. And within a year of meeting him, he brought me to becoming a black belt in Taekwondo. And less than a year than that away, I became a second degree. And then we tore through every competition in the world, and we went all the way to the Junior Olympics. And I felt like I was on top of the world. And now this man, that was the purest form of truth and kindness, was gone. And I had no idea how to deal with it. So fast forward just one more time, a couple more days, to the day where we all gathered to celebrate Rink's life and mourn the day that he was taken from this world. And the only thing I can remember is kneeling in the cold, wet grass in a traditional Korean bow, right next to Great Grandmaster Mu Young-yun, as we watched Rink being lowered into the ground and being taken away from our world. And most of the best stories are ended with a resolution, something to bring around a moral of the story, to help the audience and the teller or the storyteller come to terms with it. But I have yet to this day to have found one. So here's to hoping that me telling this story helps me someday come to terms and find a resolution to honor Rink's memory.